Did we all just see that correctly? Did American Horror Story 1984 just end with a happy ending? That is the most shocking thing I have seen all season. Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name's EJ Marino and this is About Last Night, the show where I talk about the TV show I saw last night. We are diving into the season finale of American Horror Story 1984. Look, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I didn't hate the ending of this season. I thought it was a pretty standard episode of American Horror Story, but that's maybe a little bit of my issue there. It just felt like a standard episode of AHS. We didn't get that epic finale that we have seen in other seasons. We didn't get that cliffhanger, oh my god moment like the way they ended Murder House. This wasn't even as kind of peaceful as I even expected Freak Show to end. This was just such a demure, such a normal ending for the show, and that's truly, I think, one of the most shocking things is that they really try to do a storybook ending. They try to do some kind of oh look, some kind of happiness in all of this madness, which I'm not upset about. Again, I'm not going to be like, oh my god, this season was kind of a happy season, that's bad. No, that's not my issue here. It just doesn't feel as grand or as amazing as other finales have felt. The episode has the biggest time jump of the season so far. We go from 1989 to 2019. Yes, we are here at the camp. It has been 30 years since all of the craziness at Camp Redwood. And what is up with the camp now? It's pretty empty. It's pretty dry. Nobody's coming. It looks like Montana's plan to have this epic massacre didn't work out because this was supposed to be the way to get all these ghosts free, but it seems like they're still there, and they're visited by a new person. It's Finn Wittrock, who we all know. He was Dandy on Freak Show. He's been in other seasons as well. He's actually one of my favorite parts of Hotel. He is so good. He's really good in this episode. He's playing Bobby. Now, does that name sound familiar to you? Yes, he is playing Mr. Jingles' little son. That is pretty crazy. I didn't really expect them to go that route, which kind of is a big thing I have with this episode. Actually, this whole season, this was a Mr. Jingles season. We were so promoted with the younger cast or even with the Leslie Grossman character, but to find out this has been a secret backdoor season for Mr. Jingles, that is crazy. But we get this intro with Bobby. His son is trying to figure out stuff about his dad. He runs into Montana. Montana basically kind of says, here's all the tea. Oh my god, you're Mr. Jingles' son. Wow, nice to meet you. We haven't seen your dad in quite some time. When we last saw Mr. Jingles, he was having that nice little picnic with his family, which should have gave me an indication that this was going to have a happy ending, because that last episode ended happy, and now this one ended happy as well. So yeah, this is basically kind of her saying, look, we don't know where he's at, but you need to go. There is forces up in this camp that do not want you here. Leave. And he's just not until I meet my dad, not until I have this cathartic moment for myself and have this express all my feelings. I'm like, cool, you're gonna express it and die, Bobby, go. This is also when he gets to meet Trevor as well. Montana and Trevor are so funny with dealing with Bobby. They're trying to scare him a little bit at first by slitting throats and shooting each other, and they're like, haha, we're ghosts. This is when he finds out about the ghost. This is when he starts finding out everything. This was a massive exposition dump for the character, but thankfully we had already known all of this, so it wasn't here's all this information for the viewers. It was just for the character. But it did feel like I started this episode, I was just oh, we're just kind of filling in the blanks that we all know as viewers. Okay, like I said, I don't hate this episode, but there is moments like this intro that I was just oh, that's strange. After Bobby finds out that Montana and Trevor are ghosts, they basically explain everything that happened. In 1989, Margaret was supposed to have her big festival. Well, finds out that never happened because Trevor was sabotaging it. Trevor was trying to save more lives from the crazy person that is Margaret, but Margaret decides to kill Trevor because I honestly expected that happened sooner, and it happened this episode, and she attacks him and all that. She tries to leave him outside of the campgrounds so he could die there. Well, that's not how it's going to work because Montana sees him and is freaking out. Again, Montana and Trevor really have Billy Lord and oh my god, just Billy Lord in general. Matthew Morrison does great, but what Billy Lord did this season has really impressed me because she was such a her typical bitchy kind of character, but there's moments here where she's seeing Trevor's body and she can't help him and she can't get him to be a ghost on there. It was so heartbreaking, but someone helps her out, and it's Brooke. I was really surprised to see Brooke help Margaret here, but she says something to Margaret. It was basically like, I'm not you. I'm not gonna do dirty things, and she helps Trevor get across that line so she can help him out. This was such a good moment. I really liked this a lot. I liked seeing Brooke's character growth. I like seeing another good acting scene from Billy Lord and Matthew Morrison. This was such a my favorite parts, I think, of the season were them. I liked me some Richard Ramirez, but what they did here was so good. And this also leads to them kind of figuring out, well, now that we have all these ghosts, let's deal with Margaret and her two, like, killing douchebags. First off, they kill Dylan McDirtbag very quickly. Like, they get that sleazy mustache up out of here. So yeah, I was just like, wow, that's what this like Dylan McDirtbag character was here for. Why was he here? They got rid of him so quickly. I think this was more to set up what they do with Richard Ramirez, but overall I was just kind of like, so what was the point of this hitchhiker killer? Like, that's probably my biggest issue with the season, is going, so what was the point of that? Like, it's not bad, but overall it doesn't fit in. But what this scene really is about is watching all of the group come together, all of these ghosts come to fight Richard Ramirez, which I really loved. I loved them watching them kill him. I love that Montana and Trevor were explaining to Bobby that he keeps coming back, and they have to have like a squad ready to kill him. I love that. I love seeing all these ghosts work together. I love what they did to like trap like Ramirez here and make sure he doesn't do bad things again. That was so interesting, so refreshing, but he is being watched. You know how I said there's been people trying to watch him every time he comes back, they kill him again and just keep doing it. But this time it's Chet and Birdie. Birdie is back and she is trying to get some of that bisexual D. She basically is telling Chet, cute, I know you like sleep with men, I know you sleep with women, but you need to sleep with this next. And they're making out, and like most camp counselors in a slasher movie, they decide to not watch the person they should be watching, and Ramirez comes back and is on a mission. He finds out that Bobby is at the camp. He goes after Bobby, saying, I should have killed you in Alaska. There is a lot of drama. I really liked this. Like, the middle of this episode is when I really was like, oh, this isn't bad. And in the beginning and in the end, I was just kind of like, oh, okay, but this middle section, him chasing like Bobby around, the way he has to get it, the way all the ghosts help him, this was so cool. That Ramirez like throwing the knife in his back. Overall, I was just kind of like, holy hell, the ghost coming together to save them, and Montana telling Bobby he needs to go and get out of here and just basically go to the insane asylum where Mr. Jingles was. You will get help there, and he gets some help for sure. Bobby makes it to the insane asylum, you know, the one at the beginning of the season, and he's almost checked in as a crazy person because he looks a mess, bleeding all over the place, and the receptionist is like, cute, cool, let's get this guy the hell away from here. And then Donna is there. Yes, Miss Donna survived the Camp Redwood massacres and is running the insane asylum. I think I would like to see her credentials. I would like them to know she's also a little bit crazy, but hey, the crazy watching the crazy, that's usually how it works. But Donna spills all of the tea to Bobby. She's basically like, here's what happened, here's what's here is what, like, the real truth about your dad is he wasn't a killer, it was all Margaret. And then we also get to find out what happened to Margaret. After wiping out her little serial killer goonies, they decide to all gang up on Margaret. This was such a cool scene. Again, like I said, the middle of this episode was awesome. They all like attack Margaret, just chop up her body parts, throw her into a wood chipper. This was probably one of the nastiest things I have seen in quite some time, and I was amazed by it. The way they did it, the way they were like holding up her head and said, oh no, we're gonna kill her like this so she'll never come back to the camp. And I'm like, oh gosh. And I knew as soon as they said it, she wasn't going to be gone for good, but I was hoping they wouldn't try to like loophole out of the rules they set up, but they did. They found a cheap way of bringing Margaret back. But in this moment, this nasty death of her felt so satisfying. I love Donna getting to tell the story. I liked getting to see this story unfold and then do a nasty gory kill. This is also when Bobby thanks Donna for sending him money. So yeah, he's been getting money from his childhood, like just throughout the life. He thinks it's from Camp Redwood. He now thinks it's Donna. Donna says, that wasn't me, and there's only one other person who can do it, and it's Brooke. While all of that Margaret stuff was happening, when they were chopping up her body, she got into a fight with Brooke, and I was so scared and almost so pissed because they kind of like quickly like shot Brooke here, and I'm like, that's how she dies? Our like epic Emma Roberts character has died like this? But she's not. Like, it's awesome. We find out that she has been hidden. Like, Ray helped her after she got shot. He like tried to save her. He took her out of Camp Redwood and said, you need to go get some help. You do not belong here. And she was just like, you don't either. They had a really nice embrace. What a great arc for Ray's character. How dirty and grimy he started out, like with his story. He was telling Chet in the pit. I was just like, gross. To where he ended up, great evolution of that character. I really like that. And I like that we got to see Brooke have a good ending. She's having her own life in just the middle of, I forgot where they said, like Ohio, one of those like middle of America states that I'm like, no one cares about. But Oregon, I think. Yes, I think it was Oregon, which is like in the stuff. I'm not good at geography. Who cares? I'm good at talking about American Horror Story. And this was such a really cool moment where we got to see Donna and Bobby hunt for who's sending him the money. They find out it's Brooke. There's a lovely reunion here. I really like this scene where Donna got to talk to Brooke and was just kind of like, look, I'm upset that you didn't tell me you were alive. Brooke tells her, I tried to tell you, I just couldn't. I like this moment. I like Bobby getting to get some closure with who he also thought was the killer. He swore that Jingles and Brooke were the killers because of all the stuff Margaret set into place, and I love that he got to find out the truth. Brooke felt like a good character, and Donna had their moment. They had a cute little embrace moment, and I'm like, cool, they're all gonna help Bobby out at Camp Redwood. No, they're not. They're staying here. That's how they end. Again, this is where we start going to the end of this episode. I'm like, oh, no more of Brooke and Donna? That's how they end their characters? Like, they couldn't even be cute lesbian lovers, like a Thelma and Louise kind of moment? No? Okay. Bobby, aka Mr. Jingles Jr., decides to go to the camp one more time. After being warned by multiple ghosts, by Donna and Brooke to avoid it, he decides to go back because he needs that closure. Who does he run into? Margaret! Yay, she's a ghost. Yay, I kind of wish she wasn't. I think they could have found another person to like trick him to try to kill him, that Jingles would save him. I thought that could have been done better. I thought like bringing back Margaret was an okay choice, but it did seem like everyone got their revenge on her again at the end, which was nice. But yeah, he runs into Margaret. Margaret's just like, I'll take you to your dad, but I'm gonna kill you first. Jingles saves his son, and they have a really good moment. Another time, John Carroll Lynch takes a moment I'm not in love with, but outacts everyone in the room, and I'm like, well, I don't love this scene, but John Carroll Lynch is slaying it. Lily Rabe is doing so good. I don't love this, but the acting is so good. So yes, we have this moment where Margaret goes to kill Bobby, the lady in white decides to save him, and she gets to see her grandson. Another cute moment, the one that she, like, Jingles named him after her son that was murdered and kind of started this whole thing off. I thought that was a good kind of trying to wrap it around, trying to close it off, which was nice. Again, I don't love the ending of this episode or even the ending of this season, but I can't deny that it was laid out. It was, all the pieces were there. They placed them there. I may not like what the puzzle looks like at the end, but it was there. It was telegraphed. I can't be too angry. There's something that Montana said at the end that I think really sticks with me, is basically like the 80s will never die, and that was the whole message of the season, is like, it's somewhere in the world the 80s are alive at Camp Redwood, but in general, it's such a nostalgic thing. It's such a moment in time to like kind of relook at the 80s with nostalgia, and I like that. And I like the happy ending, I guess, with him looking at the family, like him getting to see his grandmother, his little uncle Jingles Jr. kind of thing, and then he gets to see Mr. Jingles. I like that moment. It was cute. Not in love with it, not my favorite ending, but it was cute. And overall, like I said, I like the 80s never die message. I like the hopeful ending to this. I think they tried to do something a little bit different. So I can't be too mad, but I am a little upset because I wanted this ending to be more explosive, more bigger. I think after they hyped up the like Camp Redwood Music Festival massacre and then to not give it, felt like a cheap thing. I really want to know what's the story of this season. How much do they chop out? What was this really supposed to be before they like edited episodes out, took episodes out? What is the real truth with 1984? We may never know, but I can't say. I like this season. It was overall pretty fun. Not at the bottom of my rank, but not at the top, firmly in the middle. That is it for American Horror Story 1984. It breaks my heart that I am done reviewing the season with you guys. I want to keep going. Only 9 episodes to hang out with everyone? That sucks. But I will say, overall, I had a really fun time dissecting the season, talking about it with you guys, having just a overall 80s fest. The time I dressed up like a character from Us, that really weird like crappy 80s outfit I wore at the beginning. I think I wore this shirt as well, like throughout this season. I just overall had a really fun time, and I want to thank you guys for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel and stay subscribed, because I will be talking about American Horror Story as like in this in-between time, not every week like this was, but I will keep doing American Horror Story for you guys, but I keep also doing reviews every week, so make sure you guys tune in for those. Give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to comment. Let's talk about what you guys thought of this like season, what you guys thought of this episode. I'm amazed. I'm kind of upset to be done with this season, but at the same time, so happy I went on this journey with everyone. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Comment down below, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk about 1984 below.